Well, last season I grew a few different things, pretty much tried to grow absolutely everything just to see what everything was like. And a couple of really awesome crops were corn and potatoes. And I don't I don't really like corn. Corn is a little bit lame, but I like Mexican food and there's corn in that, so I know. So I thought I'd try corn, and wow, corn was one of the best things I've actually grown. Yeah, kind of crazy. It grew really, really well, really fast. And I thought, yep, sweet. Brought a whole lot of different types of seeds, including sweet corn seeds. So blue corn, rainbow corn, this corn, that corn, bicolored corn. So apart from a few rats wiping it out just at harvest, but we know what to do this time. Yeah, I brought a whole lot more corn seeds, super keen for it to heat up, and yeah, initially on, yep, sweet, it's warm enough, and that was about a month ago, and totally forgot to plant my corn. So I am germinating corn now. Yeah, that's corn in those little tiny containers, and yes, they will germinate in the next week. I'm gonna wait for them to be about a week and a half old before I actually transplant them to the pots, but I'll show you the pots there. Works really well. If you've got limited space, you can grow corn. You don't need bloody fields and stuff like that. And potatoes. Potatoes were probably the best thing that I actually grew last year. Yep. Now, obviously, potatoes, you can make anything out of potatoes. There's a lot of different things. Not many people don't like potatoes, and if you don't, it doesn't matter. Grow corn instead. But I totally missed the potato growing season as well, because that was about a month and a half ago. Whoopsie, because I've been flat out with work and everything else. So sort of, yeah, when you're busy with life, your garden kind of just does nothing. Well, does its own thing, I should say. And talking about that, look at all the purple beans. I know, I did not plant any purple beans in here, and now they have gone all over the cactus. Which I'm leaving them there because they help with nitrogen in the soil. Look how crazy they are. These are all purple beans, and they've just grown from a couple of random ones that have been left over in the soil because I dumped all the pot soil in this bed before I planted the cactus. Look at all the bloody weeds as well. I know, we're just ignoring that because it's giving the cactus good cover because the sun has been kind of crazy at the moment. I will deal with that when I deal with that, which is not this week. Anyway, let's have a look at the cage, because the cage is where we're going to plant corn, and I've already planted the potatoes. Yeah, you don't need to see how to plant potatoes because you're dumping them in the dirt. It's pretty straightforward. There's a couple of different types. Some of them you'd layer, other ones you just bury. It really doesn't matter too much if you just bury them. And I'm just using them, well, using pots, because last time I did them in pots, they worked really, really well. And the only thing is keeping the water to them and not keeping them wet so they don't rot. So pots are pretty much ideal. And if you have pots sitting on dirt, yeah, you're not going to lose a lot of the water like you do with things up and out of the way and so on and so on. So I've got like about 4 or 5 potatoes in each one of these. Yeah, they're going to take off, fill up this whole area. But our corn, these are the size pots I'm going to grow the corn in. And before everyone freaks out and goes, oh, they're too small. No, they're not, because last year I had this size pot and I had 2 corn plants in each one, and there was still enough room. It didn't use all the soil up. They grew huge. I had a bloody ear of corn on every single plant. I actually had too much corn. I know. So this time I've got a blue corn. Well, I had blue corn last year as well, but I got a different type of blue corn. I've got the glass corn, sweet corn, just a big mixture. I will need a lot more pots, and once they've germinated about that sort of size, we're going to stick them obviously in the pot. So I'm going to do 4 in each pot and expect 2 to take over and grow. But yeah, it's that whole initial, if you only have 1 in each pot and something eats them or what have you, like rats digging them up, because that was a huge issue with the last bloody season. Yeah, as soon as you plant corn, they smell the corn and they dig it up and eat it, and then there's beetles that eat corn and everything else. The cage is going to help a little bit with beetles and stuff, and the cage is still surviving, which is kind of amazing. I reckon a couple of storms in summer and that's the end of the cage. But yes, once they're a decent size, I'll just have 4 in each one of them. If all 4 survive, they do. If a couple get wiped out, there should be at least 1 per pot. And once they sort of get a decent size up here, I'm going to move them down on the ground so there's 6 foot of room. Yeah, I probably need a lot more pots though, because yeah, I've germinated a lot more corn than I have pots, but we'll deal with that. You watch, I'll do a panic buy of more dirt. I've got a heap of pots under that junk pile there. I just need some more dirt. And premium potting mix, you want lots of nitrogen in the soil for them, and yeah, lots of water. They will grow really, really well. But that is where we are now. We are super late. Should have planted these 2 months ago. But it doesn't bloody matter because it's the garden, and you can do everything right and it still fails. So yeah, so if you think you've missed out, just try it anyway, because it'll probably still bloody grow. That is a freaky looking eggplant. Cool spiky plant is still spiky. Check that out. One of my favorite plants. Starts with N, you know what it is. Now the lettuce is on its last legs. Slugs wiped a lot of them out, but it did work. So that was initially great. Some tomatoes just sitting there. I need to take them upstairs. These, how awesome is that? They don't look awesome, do they? But these have just started to germinate, and there's more down the bottom. These are coffee seeds that are actually germinating from our coffee tree. Oh, how cool is that? So, oh, there's one. That's just a husk. That is a coffee seed, was a coffee seed. It takes 2 months to turn into a little coffee tree like that. So yay, they started germinating. That's exciting. So yes, I'll have enough coffee trees to actually have some coffee, because this time I think we got like 20 or 50 or so coffee beans, which is enough for like what? Nothing. So this season, because I brought another 2 coffee trees, I'll have a lot more. So in another year's time, it'll be like, yay, I actually brewed coffee from my own coffee. So that'll be exciting. This has survived as well. This is my Cape gooseberry. And not only has it survived, I've just trimmed a lot of it down again. Yes, those bloody 5-stripe or 7-stripe potato beetles did not wipe it out this time. How cool is that? Yes, I have a whole lot. And if we come around here, a whole lot of these. So these are Cape gooseberries, and they come in a lovely protective wrapper. That is it there. They are absolutely horrible. They are toxic to cats and dogs, so you make sure cats and dogs don't eat them. But if I eat one, oh my God. Oh, they are so bitter. Oh, that's the poison. Oh, good God. Okay, they've got a taste. You know, like those sour lollies that you have one and it's like, oh, and then you need another one. That's kind of what gooseberries are like. Oh, geez, yep. Yeah, wonderful stuff. Now, my lettuce is all bolting, but that's fine. We had so much lettuce. We've been trimming all the lettuce off as we needed it. Too much bloody lettuce. But that was a success. This is hydroponics, obviously. Yeah, they're on their last legs at the moment. Hydroponics, but it was just normal, everyday town water. So no hydroponic solution, which is kind of crazy that it worked. I didn't think it would work. They are nowhere near as big as the ones in hydroponic solution, but hey, if you don't want to buy hydroponic solution or know what to do, freaking water. Just horrible tap water, alkaline, yeah, high mineral content and a whole lot of chlorine, chloramine, ammonia, and they still survived, which is kind of crazy. I thought they would taste like rubbish too. They actually taste like lettuce, so go figure. Probably poisoned by our tap water, but hey, apparently people drink tap water, so go figure. One up on that. Anyway, that is our control, and look how mingy that is. Yeah, it's toast. So planted in soil as opposed to tap water. Crazy, crazy times. Otherwise, apart from that, all our cactus are starting to grow. That's wonderful. Yeah, everything else is just a giant magnet for bugs and stuff this time of year, but it is what it is. Yeah, a few, oh, look at that. That's actually a torn hole Yeah, something's eaten through that. It'll be a rat or something. We have an apple, so potentially an apple, unless something decides to eat that. There's a few more apples. And I haven't done anything about this giant mess. Yeah, ayahuasca vine is taking over again. Oh, look at that. The ayahuasca vine is actually it's upsetting this fruit tree, but it's not upsetting the fruit tree. It's upsetting a giant weed. So, go figure. And look, there we go. We have some sort of citrus. God knows what they are. Oh, I should look at the thing. Oh, it's a lime of some type. There you go. It's a lime. We have limes growing. But that is where we are with all that. I thought I'd just do a little update video on, yeah, 2 awesome crops to grow at home. That's best things I've grown so far, apart from all the tomatoes and everything. And talking about the tomatoes, there's another one ready to harvest there in the next day or so, unless something eats it. Spiders everywhere. But anyway, yes, corn, potatoes, you can do them in tiny little pots like that, and it does work because that's what worked last year. I know, exciting stuff. So yeah, update video on this on my channel, so subscribe and click the thing if you want to. And yeah, we will see you in the next video, and we'll deal with all the rest of the rubbish. Anyway, thanks heaps for watching.